Hi, Michelle here from Straw-Bearie.com, and I'm so excited to be part of the Crackerbox and Suzy Thinking of You card hop. There are going to be prizes, so stick around, and I hope that you enjoy the card that I made. Make sure to check out everybody else in the hop. I will have a link in the description below for all the other people so you can follow along in the hop. Comment on everybody's videos, and you can be entered to win a gift certificate for $25 to Crackerbox and Suzy Stamps.
I really enjoyed going to the Crackerbox and Suzy Stamps website and just looking through all of the different designs. They had some really cute things, some little snarky comments, just really fun stamps. And I saw this Jeep and I just fell in love with it. And I loved this big tree that went with it. And I found a saying that I liked. So now I'm just taking a piece of Post-it tape and I am putting it on my card so that I can make a landscape. And I'm using the Tim Holtz ink dusters to kind of give a mottled look with different shades of greens and browns and gray, just throwing them all in there because I don't want it to be like a perfectly blended green look. I want it to look like a rough grassy area. All right, so once I've done that, I'm taking my Post-it tape and putting it the other way, and I'm creating a sunset. And I'm using ink blender brushes, the makeup style this time, to give it a little bit smoother look. But I don't have a lot of patience, and I'm not the best blender. I see people make videos where they're spending forever making it, and you can see that I've got little spots where I'm just not patient enough. But it all turns out in the end when you put it all together. And so I'm just going over it a couple of times with a yellow, a pink, a blue, and then I went for a dark navy blue right around the edges until I have a good enough blended look. And in the end, it smooths out enough. All right, cleaning up my surface, and now I'm going to put on my tree, and I'm using Memento Tuxedo Black ink, and I'm using a stamp block instead of a positioner because I knew I wanted to do several in different spots and just get kind of a little bit artsy with it. I'm trying to use one stamp but give it the illusion of depth and that the trees in the front might be a little bit bigger because they're off the edge. Now for the coloring, I am just taking my medium shade of green and I'm dotting it on each of the branches. And then I will take my darker shade of green and I am dotting it on at the bottom side of the branches. And then my lightest shade of green I'm dotting on at the top side of each of the branches. I'm using the Spectrum Noir Tri-Blend marker in Alpine Green Blend. So it gives you 3 markers in one. So it makes it just really easy and convenient to use as I dot on all those leaves. And I love the way the stamp is just very kind of almost like feathery, artsy, and it's not meant to be colored perfectly. And I think this style just works really, really well. If this is your first time to my channel, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here and I hope that you're enjoying this video. I do card making. I also do general crafts and DIYs and sometimes even some sewing and jewelry making, just a little bit of everything. So I would really appreciate it if you would hit that subscribe button and check out some of the other videos that I have, and I hope that you enjoy all of those as well. Now I'm just going in with some tans and browns on the base of the trees. And there was a little bit of grass at the bottom of the tree, so I went in and added a little bit of grass in other spots so it didn't look out of place. Now I am using my stamp positioning tool to stamp my Jeep and did it a couple times because I wanted the black to be really black. Now I'm coloring my Jeep and I want it to be blue because the Jeep that I drive is blue. And at first it was turning out too aqua until I didn't really test that first. And so I'm going in with some other blues. I'm using a mix of Spectrum Noir and Prismacolor alcohol ink markers. And I'm a big believer in using what you have and mixing and not having to just use one name brand or something. I'm using some grays for the interior for the seats in the back, and then I'm just using, I believe, a colorless blender and a little bit of light aqua for the windshield. And now I'm taking a silver Sharpie and doing the bumper and the tires, and the little step to get up into the Jeep. And the Sharpie kind of makes it so you can't see anything, so I had to use a little bit of black on the wheels afterwards. And then I'm just fussy cutting my Jeep out. I thought about cutting it out on my brother's Scan and Cut, but my scissors were right there and it wasn't that hard to do. It's a pretty easy shape. Now that I have my Jeep cut out, I'm going to cut down my card so that I have just a little bit of a border on the sides when I put it on my card base, because I really like the look of having a little white border. I'm going to use some foam squares here to put my Jeep in the middle of my scene. And you can see now that my sunset doesn't look as mottled as it did before, especially with the trees and everything there. Now I'm using some scrap black paper and I'm putting my quote on. So my quote says, "Happiness is an open road and a sunset to chase." Crackerbox and Suzy actually has a line where you buy the happiness is, and then you can buy different stamps to finish the phrase. And I just thought that this was perfect, especially during this time of COVID and everything, where there's not a whole lot we can do, but we can go for a drive. And I think that this words and this idea for this card would work with different vehicles as well. If you drive a motorcycle, they have a cool motorcycle stamp. They have like an old car. They have several different cars to choose from, and so I think any of those would work. I messed up when I embossed that first one, so I'm just using clear embossing ink and white embossing powder. And the first time, for some reason, I messed up and didn't actually heat it all the way, and it didn't melt all the way. And I'm just cutting this down, and I'm doing just a diagonal on the side, and I'm going to adhere that with some foam tape up at the top of this card, and that's basically it. And I think it turned out super cute.
I actually made a second card as well, and this one I put my horizon line at 3/4 up. So it's always good to have your horizon line not in the center, but you want to follow what's called the rule of thirds in photography and have that horizon line on, like if you were to divide your card up into a tic-tac-toe grid, you would want your horizon line to be on one of those lines on the tic-tac-toe grid. So on the second card, I put it at the higher lines. And so I have more area down at the bottom. And I put my saying, my greeting, at the bottom of the card. And I like this one too. I also added a little bit of shadowing with some black ink underneath the Jeep. And I'm not sure if I like that or not, or if I like the cleaner look of the one that I demonstrated in here. But just wanted to show you two different versions that are very, very similar in these cards. Thank y'all for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I had so much fun making it. Do check out Crackerbox and Suzy. Check out all the other videos in this playlist. And if you're new, this is your first time to my channel, if you wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe button, I'd really appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day. Toodles!